Michigan Supreme Court has adopted a rule that all Michigan courts will provide foreign language interpreters to people with limited English proficiency. Here to discuss the rule are Chad Schmucker, State Court Administrator, Justice Bridget Mary McCormack, Michigan Supreme Court, and Chief Judge William Kelly, 62B District Court, Kentwood.
The purpose of the rule is to really provide consistent, meaningful access to justice across our state. There were a lot of courts that were already doing an excellent job providing interpreter services to litigants and anybody else who needed them. But we want to make sure that everybody in every court across Michigan has consistent, meaningful access to our courts.
There's some guidance for courts as to who to use, some definitions of qualified and certified interpreters and what it means. We can't simply be using family members like some courts have done in the past. It's also clear, because this was different how courts were interpreting it across the state, it's not just criminal cases. That is family, civil, probate. All the cases an individual is eligible for an interpreter. Courts around the state were using different rules and standards. We have this rule now because we needed a clear, uniform approach for the whole state.
The way the rule works is anybody who needs interpreter services gets them. That's the most important part of the rule. Anybody who has any trouble understanding what's going on in the court is going to get these services. There is a provision for reimbursement from parties who can afford to reimburse the courts. However, that's only from parties, and the courts have the ability to waive that provision if in any way it would interfere with a party's access to the courts, because that is the most important part to us.
Why do we need a plan? Well, there has to be a system for this. There's going to be people who you're going to identify in your court. They're going to make arrangements, how it's done, what's going to happen. You're going to try to identify what the needs are in your community. You may have a significant population of a certain language in your community, and that may suggest that you should have some signage or some forms available in that language. So the local plan is going to help you outline how this rule is going to be applied in your community. We've provided a template with our materials, and we're there to assist each court in preparing a local plan.
In the 1980s, we rarely needed an interpreter, but that need has grown year after year after year, and to the point where last year our court used interpreters in more than 10 languages. And so we started using Language Line about 20 years ago, and it's been invaluable to the court. When possible, we'd like to have a certified interpreter in front of us, and we anticipate with this new rule that there will become the pool of certified interpreters is going to grow. And we've also set up a slide program advising people of their rights in English, in Spanish, in Bosnian, and Vietnamese, because those are 4 languages that are common in our jurisdiction. I think this is a great step forward, and we tried to balance the needs of the limited English proficiency population with the realities of our budget. And we think we've struck a pretty good balance.
What happens next is we are getting to work right away on implementation of this new rule. I'm chairing an implementation committee that is comprised of advocates from the field who have worked very hard on this issue over the years, as well as judges who sit in courts where they will be applying the rule. And we want to right away grapple with any of the problems in implementing it and make sure we can help the trial courts across the state provide the consistent, meaningful access that the rule is aimed at.
I know that many of you are going to have more questions. Like I said, you've got to read the rule. We're also going to be posting frequently asked questions and the answers to those questions on our website. So if you have a question that isn't answered in the materials, look there. That will be updated regularly. If you have a question that the answer isn't there, that's the time you should call your regional administrator, and we'll get the answer to that question for you. This is one of the ways that we're continuing to improve our courts. We want to treat all people fairly. I know you share that goal, and this is just another way that we're meeting that goal. want to thank you for listening to this, and look forward to working with you as this new rule is applied in your courts.